Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Hot Off the Press. Hey, I am Randy the news guy, and today's going to be a little bit of a different show, only because I don't have a guest joining us today, so sorry, just have me. But I did want to come on and talk to folks a little bit. Just say hi, all of that fun stuff. And especially as we are gearing up for, the new year, right? Which is always kind of fun. So I thought I would share a little bit about kind of do a 2024 recap, uh, talk about some of the wins and misses, that we've had over the course of the year. Talk a little bit about 2025 goals. And, I'm always and would love to hear anybody else's goals and wins for the year, especially the wins for 2024. Always love sharing the wins. You can share the misses too. I'll let you in on mine as well. But I don't know if you're like me, but I have always been a goal oriented or goal focused kind of person. Now, different from saying like New Year's resolutions, because I mean, I am quite serious about my goals in the sense of how I approach them. I mean, I write them down. I probably start thinking about the next year's goals, both. And when I look at goals as well, I think about goals both kind of personally and professionally, right? So all of the aspects that kind of touch my life personally, as well as in the business itself. So and I think I probably start thinking about my goals. I know at least this year I started thinking about them in October. And I think that's kind of similar, what I've done in past years. I just kind of think about them, begin to kick around some thoughts, and then kind of December, I start focusing them and getting more meat around them. I don't know. That's just me. I don't know how other folks do it. Would certainly love to hear, I guess, how other folks approach goals, but different from New Year's resolutions, I think, because a New Year's resolution is like, hey, I'm going to do something different or whatever, maybe that you haven't done before, and then you're just going to start doing it like, January 1st for some reason. But goals are kind of setting a path and a direction for your business, your life, and mapping out that path that you're going to execute throughout the course of the year. So I don't know if that makes sense. That's how I think about it anyway. Um, so let's see. Wanted to hit 2024. I did put together. This is going to be funny. I think you. I did put together. I'm being a nerd today. I did put together a little slide presentation. Maybe I'll do the slideshow. Boom, there it is. In regards to 2025. Oh, there's my man, Terry Samuels. Good morning, buddy. Good to see you. And a happy birthday to Elizabeth yesterday. I'm sure you took her out and wined and dined her and made her feel wonderful, like the special lady she is. So happy birthday to Elizabeth. Um, let's see. So back to the goal. So I did make this goofy uh, uh, presentation. I don't know why, but it was as much for an opportunity for me just to keep my thoughts focused, I guess. So, 2024 recap. Let's see. There we go. Um, I kind of group my stuff down into multiple categories of life, right? So things that are important to me and and what kind of growth I want to see in those things. That makes sense. I don't know. This is how I approach it. So, hey, anybody want to share what they do? I'd love to hear it. So, I just thought I'd share a little bit more about me and give you a little more insight in about the news guy, right? So in 2024, I had a number of different goals. One, I'll just hit this one about health, right? So uh, I think the way that I wrote the goal was that I wanted to lose 10 pounds. And I started out the year at, if you can believe, 207. For me, that was heavy. And I've always been kind of a thin, person throughout my life, but a 201 was, heavy for me. And so I'm like, yeah, I need to lose 10 pounds. I got down, and where I'm sitting right now, about 187. So I feel like, hey, that was good. But it kind of took me all year. uh, yeah, because he kinda hit it, and then I kinda didn't do it for a while, wasn't focused, and then boom. But one of the things that I wanted to do is, like, limit sweets. I have just a horrible sweet tooth, and, I mean, I never pass on, and especially ice cream, oh my gosh. Um, but I really wanted to limit sweets, and you know, I'm gonna say that was a miss. I wonder if I could highlight these things over, I that wait a second, back over to 25. I'm gonna highlight this as being a miss. Wonder if I can do this I'm gonna change the color of this. There we go, text color. I'll just highlight it as I'll do it like this, boom. Eh, that was a miss. Um, yeah, I have horrible willpower when it comes to sweets, so anyway, moving on. I wanted to exercise 5 to 6 times a week. I've always kind of have exercised, I don't wanna say sporadically, but I had been, especially over in the last several years, kind of exercising a few times a week, but I wanted to really crank that up. I'm gonna give myself kind of a okay. I think I was probably, if I had to really count it out and measure it out, I probably was like 3 to 4 times a week, not the 5 to 6 that I wanted to do. So, I did increase, not at the rate that I wanted to. Next is, and I kind of threw this in because I think it's also, you got to keep your mind sharp and everything else rolling. So I always have a goal. Have always been a big reader, and I love reading all different kinds of books. And my goal, I used to have a goal of like reading a number of books every year. Um, and I've realized that, there are some books that I read that are like 400 pages. Some books that I read are like over 1,000. I'm like, well, those books, they have take different amounts of time and effort to read. So a couple of years ago, moved over to counting pages. And so last year or this year, my goal was to read 20,000 pages. And I will even share with you, I'm such a nerd about this stuff. I actually keep a spreadsheet, and I started doing this a couple of years ago. So you can see in 22, 23, 24, I write down, I log the books that I've read, who the authors are, and the number of pages. And, in 22, I was over 13. And I think I've had this goal about 20,000 pages for the last few years. I was at 13,000, so I failed there. Was 12,733 and 23. This year, even worse. I'm not even exactly sure why, but I am way off the mark in my number of pages read from compared to previous years, and as well a number of books. If I count through here, I'm only like at 29 books. Previous years, I think this one was 31. This one was 30, what, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 33. Hmm. Yeah. So I've been on the decline for reading. Not exactly sure why. Um, hmm, but I got to step that back up. I got a ton of books that I'm reading or have on my list. I think I've got about 9 books right now, or actually even more than that. But I do love reading. So reading, I think, is good. Keeps the mind focused. Uh, but that was a big, so reading my 20,000 pages, big miss. S That was a whiff. And listen, you know what? You gotta be honest with yourself, right? You set the goals. You have some wins, but you're gonna have misses too sometimes, and that's life, right? So don't get, derailed just because you do have a miss. Heck, Babe Ruth, like, struck out over 1,300 times in his career, right? Hank Aaron, same thing, like, over 1,300 times in his career, and he's like the home run, all-time home run hitter. So, hey, you have your days, and sometimes you don't. Family is one of my other, major, and I know Terry Samuels is a big family guy as well. Um, and I always love Terry and Elizabeth have their whole family over every Sunday night. I love that. All of his kids are grown. My kids are still, well, one is still in the house, kind of leads to my other one of my goals. But we would always come together, and we still do. Like, I generally leave the office about 6:30. We're trying to have dinner as a family and kind of talk about the day and stuff. So that's very important to us. I wanted to do a kind of a weekly date night with my wife, and that one. Now, maybe it wasn't weekly necessarily, but if I went through and I counted, and said, "Hey, how many times would we actually go and do stuff?" Um, I uh, it would be certainly at least once a week, and so we enjoy doing stuff together and a lot of different things. Important to have those relationships rolling, right? You'll see I've got the relationships, family and friends is I think very important. Get my son off to university. That obviously, as any parent would tell you, like, hey, you want to see your kids move on and launch and do all of that fun stuff. And so my son is just finished his first semester at Michigan State, studying physics. Pretty proud of him, and he's loving life there. And very much enjoying that. My next is to get my daughter on her path. My daughter is a junior in high school, and so this is not a goal that's necessarily completed, but I feel pretty good about the direction. I'm going to give myself kind of partial credit. She's in the midst of it, right? So she is on the path. And so I feel pretty good about that. And then we wanted to do a European vacation. And this one I'm going to give a full swing and a green on. Um, we went to Iceland in June, and Iceland is considered Europe. And that was great. I don't know if you ever thought about going to Iceland, go. It is a really incredible, very diverse country. When I'm saying diverse, like nature diverse, if you've ever watched the Star Wars universe of movies, I swear they were all filmed in Iceland because you have got all different kinds of terrain and territory and weather in Iceland. It is crazy, very intriguing. And crazy thing, my son and I were touring this kind of thermal energy plant in, like, just, I don't know, about an hour or so south of Reykjavik. And One of the people that was there the morning that we were there was, Neil deGrasse Tyson, and one of my son's, like, idols, that he follows in the world of physics, and so it was great. So I actually got to sit and have a quick chat with, Neil, so that was just very fun. Anyway, so off to that. So that was good. So family goals, pretty good. Friends, for me, I can really get kind of too, I'll say myopic, right? I can get really focused on work or things that I'm doing. And I don't, I have to be very conscious about being sure that I'm reaching out to friends, and meaning friends that aren't necessarily like right in my little town that I live in, but like either old college friends or friends that are in different parts of the country or something. And so I always set a goal of like, hey, I got to reach out to somebody at least once a week. And for the most part, I did that. I was felt pretty good about staying in touch and being connected. The other is that I really wanted to be sure that my wife and I were doing some kind of a couples event or something with other couples. We have a bunch of couples friends here, so, and I think, and so wanting to do something at least like once a month with that. And again, I think we're successful with that. So I feel, yeah, I'm going to give us a win on that. All right, over onto the business goals. So, I always have goals, and I'm sure every agency and the way you kind of dig in and what you guys are doing, or small business owners, you always want to sit and map out goals and things that you want to achieve during the course of the year. But I am no different, and I really do kind of plan out. I'm not going to give you the massive detail in this and what we did, but our goal was to do a 30% growth year over year in revenue, and with that, and you do have to do, and I do this especially over on the business side, is I go into detail. Then, like, this is how I think we will get this growth. We're going to do this in attracting new clients. We're going to do this in expanding services, thinking about how are we going to generate more revenue. And so, really kind of mapping those things out and then beginning to build a plan to execute on those things. So that's kind of my approach to this a bit. Um, so we did actually exceed our 30% growth, year over year growth. So I was very excited about that. And I don't say this as a means of bragging by any means, because it is a lot of hard work. And as well, it is not just me, right? It is my team, my staff, and I celebrate the win with them, and a lot of great effort that as a team we've gone in to do, and so I feel really good about the success of that. And the other piece is as well is that as a service business, I think it's important to kind of set and go like, hey, not only do I want to have growth, but I also want to be sure that we're attracting new clients, right? New customers, and I measure it by what kind of new client acquisition did we have compared to the previous year? Because in my mind, that was always an indication that we are not just growing top line revenue, which is important, but also that we're attracting more people to our services that we provide. And I think that's important because it talks a lot about then how you're executing on your business and your services. So, if you're not continually growing your business with new clients, I think eventually you are going to just kind of stagnate, and then you're going to see a decline in your overall business. So, and I think attracting new clients is also indicative of good customer service that you're providing to your existing clients, because they're going to tell other people about your services and work as a referral or a recommendation for it. And so I think that's always pretty critical. So I always set a goal for new client acquisition. We achieved a greater than the 20% that we had put out. And so I feel very good about that, very proud of the team and the effort that they put in on that kind of effort as well. And as well, then staff. I had a goal to grow our staff and some very specific positions with our staff. And we expanded both our writing and editing staff. We expanded as well just our overall operations team in doing different aspects of services. And I feel pretty good about how we grew that. We have just some great folks on the team that have joined us during this year. And, uh, thankfully, and very grateful, we've not lost staff as well. So I feel good about that. Um, Overall, hey, I think it was a good year, 2024. Just in closing, we did a lot of other kind of what I will say small successes and things to be proud of. Aside from hitting, our goals. Yeah, I got some misses over here, but on our YouTube channel, we've surpassed the 100,000 subscribers. I think we're sitting at like 145 right now, somewhere around in there. And so that was a big win. I was excited about that, kind of surprised as well that we were going to do that. We've done a full year of hot off the press on the show, and so I think that's helped as well. Try to be very consistent about always putting out and doing a new show. We've had just some incredible guests over this last year. And very grateful, very happy that folks came on the show and just really kind of shared themselves and what they're doing in the industry and all of that kind of fun stuff. Also started a new show with Craig Campbell and Holly Starks. I think we started that in I don't know, sometime during the summer. I think I don't know the exact summer. Yeah, I think it was in the summer. And we have a lot of fun with that. Go check us out. Mondays at noon Eastern time. And so, whatever that is for you. But Craig and Holly and I jump on and we talk kind of a different subject every week around digital marketing and goals and business and those kinds of things. So, we have a lot of fun with that. And as well, I made some really good new friends. Um, as if you watch her show, over the course, I always talk about conferences. I love going to conferences because I love meeting new folks in the industry and making new friends and new associations, and just really met some wonderful people this year, and really very thankful for that, and some great new friends outside of the industry as well. So I'm happy about that, and as well happy about good health. I mean, I gotta be grateful about health and where we sit right now. Me and my family as a whole, we're just really have been blessed with good health, and that just makes life so much easier, so much better, right? 2025, let's move in. And by the way, if anybody want to share, throw in your comments, like wins that you had that you want to head up and talk about, whether it's your agency or personal wins or, any of that. I would love to hear it. Throw it in the comments. And then, hey, I will kind of throw in the commercial. Hey, would appreciate it. Subscribe, like, follow the show, the channel, and again, hey, hit me up in the comments with anything you want to talk about. Um, for 2025, I kind of broke these down. I just did this in a quick again uh, of what I've been mapping out, but kind of focusing on three major groups, I guess, at this point. One is health. And I got my back to my sugar thing, right? My sweets. I'm really am gonna put a much bigger effort on really kind of detoxing from sugar. I mean, there is so much info out there, and I've talked to so many great people as well just like, what sugar does to your body in so many different ways and just how unhealthy it is. Yeah, I really gotta just, eh. And especially as you get older, and like you're, an old dude like me, you just gotta really get more serious. I wish when I was in my 20s and 30s, I probably would have gotten more serious about my health at that time. You take things for granted when you're young, I swear. But that's life. So anyway, I'm gonna detox from sugar. I want to lose a little bit more weight as well. So I want to get down to like that 180. I always think in 180 for me was always like a good operating weight, right? Yeah, so I'm strong there. Wanted to reduce. Now I'm going to say reduce my alcohol, but I'm not a big drinker. I mean, you see these different kinds of things, health questionnaires, whatever, like how many drinks a week do you do? I am in the 1 to 5, 1 to 7, certainly. I mean, in most instances, if I even have one drink a week, is a lot. But there are other times, I'm like, hey, I'll go through a period and I'll have some bourbon every night. um, and I just think, yeah, maybe I'm gonna reduce that. I'm even flirting with the idea of just like eliminating alcohol, which I love bourbon so much. But yeah, maybe try it for a month or so. I don't know. We'll see. Um, I'm also, really wanting to focus on supplements. I've had some great Brian Hung, just a great guy. He was on the show a couple of weeks ago. I've talked with him over the last couple of years about supplements and monitoring health and just kind of biohacking a little bit. I mean, for a long time, I've been focused on improving sleep. And I have to be honest with you, if you did anything to like kind of biohack and move forward to try to improve health, you could talk about eating and blah, 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 whatever. But hands down, I would tell you, focus on trying to improve your sleep. You will feel, I mean, to say night and day, but I mean, literally from like, you know, operating maybe at a 20% to a 70%. I mean, that's massive jump in the way you just feel and clarity of thought or mind. Man, improving sleep is just massive. And it is something that I have worked on and continued to really work on it, probably for 3 years now, maybe even a bit longer than that. Because I've always been a horrible sleeper, horrible sleep habits, and then I'm like, I've a few years ago I read some great information from a bunch of different guys, Peter Attia, Huberman, Tim Ferriss, talking about sleep. And the research out there is overwhelming about, man, getting good restorative sleep is so critical for you from an overall health standpoint. So anyway, off of that, but focus on sleep if you had to do anything. But I'm going to focus as well on supplements and ensuring and working on various aspects of supplements and as well health monitoring. I'm going to do a couple of different things with health monitoring that Brian kind of guided me through and talked me into. I'm going to do like quarterly blood monitoring. I subscribe to a service where I'm going to get a blood kit and then take my blood, boom, send it off, and then for lab analysis, and then kind of monitor how different things are operating. And again, I have to be honest. I am really in pretty good health. And in pretty good shape. But I think as you get older, as I get older, it's one of those things that you just like think, okay, I'm not necessarily like, I want to extend my life. I want to live to 100. That's not necessarily my mindset. But however long I do have, um, I just want to be sure that I can live as healthy of a life. So I'm thinking not necessarily about lifespan, but more health span, right? So that if I live for another 30 years or 50 years or whatever the number is, I want to be sure that those years are as in good of health as I can possibly be. Does that make sense? So that's kind of where I am right now. Hey there, good to see you, man. Good to see you, Nigel. Appreciate you being on. Um, let's see, and then I'm back to my right. Read books. This year, I'm going back to my number of books because I'm like, man, I'm not hitting my book number and my totals that I want to do. So my goal this year. 40 books and see if I can boost that, get back onto that track that I was. And right now I'm reading one. I'm always reading one or two to three books right now. And then I've got about 9 books on a list that I want to hit. So I'm on a good pace. I kind of focused anyway. On the family side, boom, I got to get my daughter college bound. So this will be a big year for her, right? Kind of doing all of that stuff. And again, if you're a parent and you've gone through this, oh my gosh, it is a daunting race. Let me just tell you something. It's like running a marathon, I swear. I mean, it is like it's not a sprint. You just don't do something. I'm like, okay, it's done. It is like something you do for months in preparation. Oh, it is exhausting. But anyway, I want to get my daughter kind of college bound, get her on that track, get things decided there. Going on another European vacation. We are going to the UK in June. There is a conference. I cannot remember what the name of it is. I am a complete nerd. I like spreadsheets. I've got um, I could go back to this thing. Um, Oh, let me do this. I have got a spreadsheet, right? Conferences for 2025. And so for me, and you'll look because it is one of my goals, boom, that I've got. Um, I look at, I like to try to plan out my year because, both because my family wants to do stuff, right? Want to go on vacations, want to do trips with the family. But I also want and need to do things professionally as well. And so going to conference has always been one of those things. So, for me, what I did, I started working on this. Remember when I said I kind of start working on goals, like I started thinking about them in October or so. So this I knew was one of the things I wanted to do and focus on. So, I mapped out various conferences throughout the course of the year, each month, and like where I'm going to go, what I'm going to do. So I've got these things mapped out. And I bring this up only because, oh, I've got this going on over here. I don't know why this is kind of weird. I got my, but I'm at the Masterminders. That's going to be in June um, in the UK. Now, I'm not exactly sure who is putting this on. Yeah, I know Craig Campbell and James Dooley are involved. I think Kashra is actually producing it. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's going to be over there. I've always wanted to go over to the UK to one of their conferences over there. So that one is going to be just really a kind of a short, 2.5 days kind of thing as a conference. But going to bring the whole family over. We're going to go hit London. The conference is in Manchester, so we'll go there and spend the days in Manchester, and then I think we're going up to Scotland and spending some days in Scotland, like Edinburgh or someplace like that. So it should be fun. Gonna go. Go do that. Hey, thanks, Nigel. Appreciate it, man. Happy New Year's to you as well. Um, So anyway, so conferences, gotta hit conferences, gonna do that European vacation with the family. All right, so off to business. This is what we want to do. We're gonna hit at least a 20% growth year over year, and this was less than last year. Um, but I kind of have some thoughts around why less than last year's growth. And this is more about me personally than anything else, but 20% is a good number that I am driving for. um, and then also and as well, now remember, so I don't just do like, hey, I want to hit 20% and hopefully it'll hit. I have a whole, if this was you know a spreadsheet, which I have, I've got a whole list of like um, activities that we're going to do in order to hit this 20% growth. Things that we'll plan on doing. Um, this is also the year of automations for me. I've been to a couple of different events. I've talked with a number of different people. Dan Kurtz, as an example, of what they're doing with automation. I'm like, boy, I think me personally, I've been slow around not necessarily embracing it, but because I see the wow, the value of it. I've just been slow in like implementing. And so this year, boom, I'm in full like, how can we do things with automation to streamline, become more efficient, increase our level of service with our clients? I mean, I'm thinking about it in a lot of different ways. Um, I've already have implemented a couple of things with some new automation just even in the last couple of weeks. So I'm pretty excited about that. So this is going to be a year of automations in the business. Some other kind of specific things. I want to speak at 3 conferences. I have no idea which ones, and so I'll throw this out like, hey, people, um, love to speak at some conferences, and I'll roll this in as well and be a guest on 8 podcasts is kind of the numbers. So in 2024, I spoke at 3 conferences. So I'd kind of like to do that again. And not necessarily the same ones, but different ones is great. And I was on a number of different podcasts or video shows like this as well. So I'd like to, kind of continue that same path, and to expand on that. So yeah, so that's my goal, and I've got some thoughts about how we will try to make those things happen. And then I also, one of my other goals is that I want to get a channel sponsor for our YouTube channel. Um, and so in thinking about how we might be able to do that, and what that would look like, I've got some thoughts around that, but I would like to secure a sponsor for our YouTube channel. I think we've got a pretty good audience that have we've acquired at this point. We continue to grow, so I think we can provide some value for folks in that, to be a channel sponsor in a lot of different ways. So those are the goals that I have from a business standpoint, and just overall, uh, both in life. So I've got a few other goals, but these are the ones I thought I'd just kind of share and bring out to you. I think we've got 2025 will be an interesting year, I think. Um, Continued AI is obviously massive and continues to expand. Um, but I think this year will be as well kind of the year where AI is going to go beyond just like, hey, look at this cool thing and information you get and what AI can do for you, but really utilizing AI similar to the goal that I have about automations, but about creating AI agents to be able to do various kinds of tasks. And I think as a whole, so I want to implement that certainly within our agency and our services side. I think that's going to be an impact as a whole in our lives, in 2025. I think you'll begin to see that played out in more areas or more instances, and whether that be how you plan a vacation or how you get information pushed to you or how things just are um, acquired and or done in your life. I think AI agents are going to play a much greater role, and you'll begin to see that um, launching more this year or in the coming year, and will have a much bigger impact. I think those are the things when you think about AI and the impact that AI will have on our lives. I think that's what you'll begin to see is these AI agents, meaning that they're kind of these bots that are focused on doing specific kinds of tasks. I think that's what we will see, or at least early aspects of impact of AI on our lives. So I don't know. That's just my thought. Um, yeah. So that's what I have. It wasn't planning. Hey, if it lasted the whole hour, great. If not, great as well. Excuse me. Next week, boom, we have got coming on the show great friends of mine, Terry and Elizabeth Samuels. Love having them on the show and talking about all different kinds of fun and wonderful things that they're doing, both uh, with their agency over at Solterra, and some of the new things that they're working on, as well as talking about conferences and, of course, SEO Spring Training. Happy to say, hey, we're going to be another sponsor for SEO Spring Training for 2025. So excited to be involved in that in the coming year. Um, Otherwise, I think that's all I'm going to do. I am hoping that you have a fabulous New Year's Eve plan, ushering in the New Year's with family and friends, and just a wonderful, exciting time. And as important, or more importantly, I do hope that you just have a wonderful and blessed new year that is coming our way. And, identify what it is that you want to achieve. Write your goals down, be as specific as you can with those goals, and then begin to map out actions that you can take to achieve those goals. That's how you'll just continue to have that forward motion, forward growth in your life, and whether that's in your personal life or business. And I think you should really focus on all aspects, because I think you'll have, the greater satisfaction all the way around. But thanks for joining us today, joining me today. I appreciate it. And again, like, follow, subscribe, and reach out to me if I'm always doing free consultations on whether it's a PR project or link building or SEO. um, uh, Go onto our website, thenewsguide.com, and there's a uh, box in there that you can jump onto my calendar and schedule a free consult with me. I'd love to talk with you. Beyond that, listen, I hope you have just a wonderful new year and New Year's celebration, and look forward to talking to you in 2025. Thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it.